Hi everyone, thanks for watching another one of our videos, or if this is the first one you've watched, thank you very much for joining us. Today I'm talking to Gravitate co-founder and director, chartered accountant and all-around expert who also happens to be my boss. Today we're talking about actually how do you get into accounting as an industry. If you're early on in your career, maybe you're a student or maybe you're looking for a career change, we're going to be talking about how you get into accounting, why you should get into accounting, and why Gravitate would be a good place to start your journey. Sam, if you want to just say hello and introduce yourself a bit.
Hello, my name is Sam Newton. I set up Gravitate Accounting in 2019, and we're now a firm of 35 people. We do accounting, tax, corporate finance, and just love supporting local businesses, to be fair.
And so I guess to start out with, how did you, so you set this company up with Mike all those years ago. How did you and Mike get into accounting?
Yeah, I think we've both been down different paths. So for me, it was university. So I was naturally good at maths, good at business at school. And it was sort of, my school was very much, you go to university, you go through school, you go sixth form, you do university. It didn't even feel like there was another option, rightly or wrongly, probably more wrongly. So I was good at maths and business. They were just my standout subjects, and then it just put those two together, and accounting came up in when you were speaking to career advisors and university advisors and stuff like that. So I went to Newcastle University, studied accounting and finance. Played football way more than I did accounting and finance. I was on the university.
Has that changed?
Injuries. But like I say, I was because I was on the university team. We trained 3 times a week, played twice a week. So it was amazing, best experience of my life. But was it good for my studying? Probably not great. Like, I left knowing some book smart stuff, but nothing practical. And Mike was the opposite. He went straight into an apprentice style scheme where he learned on the job basically. And we probably, I remember, similar ages. And then when probably about 9 years ago, we ended up at the same company in a similar role really. I was brought in to be a manager at the company, and he'd got promoted to be manager in that company. So, like I say, very different paths, but ended up in the same place.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because you and Mike actually are a perfect example of how you can have completely different entry points into accounting, but ultimately end up at a very senior or director level within accounting. And so at Gravitate, we bring in people at all levels of seniority, including apprentices like Mike did as well. Would you recommend that for someone nowadays?
Yeah, I generally would. Like I say, I'm a person who would never go back and change anything. I live life, and you make decisions, and there's consequences. But I'm a big believer in the butterfly effect, and everything you've done in the past helps shape where you go, kind of thing. So from that perspective, I would never change anything. But if I had someone come to me now and say, look, I'm 15, 16, I want a career in accounting, what should I do? I would 100% tell them to go into a role where they can study at the same time. The main reason we had, at one point, we had 2 people doing very similar role, sat next to each other, and one of them had 100k debt, and the other one had been earning money for the whole 4 or 5 years, whilst this other person had the 3 years experience and then 2 years on the job. And it was just a bit like, it doesn't make sense. I think, especially if you want to work in a business like Gravitate, I think it makes sense. I think if you want to be in like a FTSE company, or you want to go into high level audit, so auditing big businesses, I think there's probably still a bit of merit to the other route. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say 100%, but I think if you want to work with local businesses and support them, local and large businesses, then you're way better understanding the nitty gritty as opposed to going to the university and learning the high level technical accounting with no application.
So you can reach a very senior and experienced level in the accountancy industry without a degree and just experience, really?
Well, I mean, what we're talking about is getting a qualification. So for me, if anyone asked me, like say, you introduced me as a chartered accountant, you wouldn't say a BA honours or whatever. I don't BA science. I can't remember what I got, but like, do you know what I mean? It becomes irrelevant because you've got the next qualification up. So if you go the apprenticeship route, you're going to get an AAT qualification, and then if you want to go on and get a professional qualification, you can. Versus me, I had an accountancy, a degree, and then the professional qualification. So again, we end up with the same key qualification, but like actually going back to your question, like you can reach a high level without a qualification. You can without any qualifications. For us, we always talk about recruiting people first. So yeah, I think the study gives you a good grounding. But if study is just not for you, or you don't want to do a chartered exam, it won't hinder your career progression here. I think there's still a few people out there who will really put an emphasis on whether you're qualified or not, but not for us here. We've got some incredible team members who aren't qualified, no intention of getting a chartered qualification, and they're flourishing. So it's not essential for us. While some traditional practices, it probably still is.
Yeah. So this idea of hiring people and training them to be great accountants rather than the other way around, where did that originate from?
I suppose we set up the business to be different, and so we always talk about, okay, me and Mike were fairly good at what we did, but there's general problems in the industry. So if we're good at what we do, why don't we just go about solving all the problems in the industry? And one thing we've always talked about is leaving the industry in a better place than we found it. And to be able to do that, we need to stop talking about, all accountants are boring, all accountants just sit behind the computers, all accountants are geeky, blah, blah, blah. We need to cut that narrative kind of thing. So we sort of take it on ourselves a little bit to say, well, if we can convince 50, 100 people that's not the case and get them into our industry, then we've done our job. We've attracted more people into the industry. So it's something we've always talked about, that, like I say, we don't just want to come here, do a job and leave. We want to make the industry better, and you can't do that by being one of these people online or saying, accountants are boring and this. So by trying to get different people into the industry and like saying, look, you don't have to be an accountant to join here, but because we'll train you up and we'll help you. But if you've got a good personality, if you understand business or you understand numbers and stuff like that, then there's an opportunity to get in still and help us and the team we've got break the mold, basically.
So if you're you mentioned if you could go back and, when you were 15, 16 or whatever, if you're a 16-year-old now who's interested in accounting, what are the 3 biggest tips you'd give them?
Yeah, I definitely would be looking at the options and making sure they find an option that suits them. And like you say, I think 9 times out of 10, I would think these days, given the full cost consideration and stuff like that, is going down the apprentice route. Because I just do think it's a stronger option, especially if you want to work at a company like Gravitate, like I said earlier. So I'd say that's number 1. Number 2, understand the industry. It's a bit of a tech industry now. Like Gravitate, we have an app stack, quite a deep app stack, whereby we're lucky enough to be born into the cloud era of accounting, and we might leave the cloud era and there might be an AI era. It might change again, but we're lucky to be at the top of that. So I think having an understanding of the industry, not just being accounting and all numbers, actually there's a lot of tech in the background. So you can, as a 16-year-old, you can probably understand Xero, how to use Xero by going online and doing training courses, and you can probably even get a Xero Xero do an annual qualification, essentially, that all our team have to keep up to date. You could show willing by doing that. And the third one is obviously easier said than done, but getting experience, going into an accountancy practice and spending time there, and making sure that it's right for you, because like I say, it's not right for everyone. But I think it's a great industry to be in. We're helping local businesses, support them to grow and understanding the thing. They're there to be great business owners, but they might not necessarily come from a numbers background, so we can be that arm to their business. So, yeah.
So still a worthwhile career choice in 2026.
Yeah, I think so. 2026, we'll see what happens. We're meant to be on the top of the list to be replaced, by AI. But I think, look, we're a firm that is, I don't know the best way of putting it, but we're interested in AI. We know it's not going to take our role, because our whole business is about relationships and people. So when we say we can train great people to be great accountants, the people are the ones who have the relationship for our clients. Our ability then is going to be able to use the best tools, the AI tools, to help like efficiency and drive and be more reactive and responsive to clients more than anything. So yeah, I'm not too worried about us being replaced, but like I say, we'll be at the forefront of having the right people to use the best support, whether it's technology or whatever, to then, like I say, better support our clients.
Perfect. Well, I think we'll probably leave it there for this one, but I hope that's been helpful. If you are looking at getting started with a career in accounting, or switching industries, or if you just want to find out more about what it's like to be an accountant, we've got loads more videos on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'll put the links below. We share interesting content every day, not just about being accountants, but actually about the life of an accountant at work and things like that. Other than that, if you're interested in working for us, there's a careers page on our website. Link again will be below, and you can also email us at hello@gravitate.digital. So thank you for watching.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Cheers. See you next time.